Hello everyone, welcome back to the Zekko Football channel. In one of the biggest results of the weekend, Brighton demolished Manchester United by 3-1. And today we're going to be diving a little bit deeper into how they accomplished such a victory. If you're new to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe, you like the video and turn on those notifications. But now let's talk about how Brighton outclassed Manchester United. Brighton were sublime in their victory over Manchester United on the weekend. They tore them apart. We did cover a lot of this in the recap. However, there are still a couple of things that I wanted to mention, particularly on Brighton. Now, when we think about the way that Brighton play football and the way that they play through the lines, there are two things that really help with that. Number one are the two fullbacks. They stay extremely wide to allow for passing lanes. They make sure that they stay open, but also they can cover the ground when going up and down the pitch. The change of position here means that the passing angles can vary depending on where the fullbacks are. The second thing is the splitting of the two centre-backs. Now, this is completely normal with a lot of football sides, but what you tend not to see are the two central defensive midfielders dropping back also. It's to make sure that not only Steele has many different options, but also the centre-backs can also play horizontally and vertically as well. It's these change of positions that allow Brighton to slowly creep themselves up the pitch without necessarily needing to hoof it long. Now, don't get me wrong, they can still do that, but in their ability to pick up pockets of space on the different tiers throughout the pitch, it means that they're slowly able to work their way all the way up the pitch. Their vertical passing is very, very good, and then you have their ability to penetrate through the lines. Steele's passing on a numerous amount of occasions was brilliant through into the midfielders or even into the two fullbacks. They can bypass certain presses at times because of how confident they are on the ball, but it's allowed by the variety of positions taken up by the back four and the midfield too. This is encompassed completely by arguably, in my opinion, the best player on the pitch, Pascal Gross, who, if we have a look at some of these statistics, we can see accurate passes. Now, Jan-Paul van Hecke is at the top with 98 accurate passes, but he's a centre-back. He's going to be receiving the ball a lot, and if you're playing in a Brighton De Zerbi system, you need to be happy with the ball. What I'm most impressed with is Pascal Gross. Not only does he get a goal, but at the same time, he played 98 accurate passes out of 100. That gave him a passing accuracy of 98%. That is crazy, and it's down to this that allowed Brighton to progress the ball further up the pitch. He was the safest pair of feet on the pitch, and to be honest with you, these are next level numbers. These are serious contenders. He could easily slot into a Manchester City team and not look out of place whatsoever. I'd argue he could improve them in certain instances. He is brilliant. The way he's clever enough to pick up pockets of space, his passing is absolutely sublime, and now he's starting to add goals to his game. He truly is starting. I'd say starting, he's 32 years old, but he is the real deal, is the complete package, and he allows Brighton to progress the ball at the pitch. Not to mention that he can play a variety of positions. Pascal Gross was absolutely brilliant in this match, and he has been for quite some time, but this game truly does highlight the level that he has and the amount of impact that he can have on a team like Brighton progressing the ball up the pitch. Pascal Gross was everywhere, he got his goal, and he's frankly putting up ridiculous numbers. These are crazy numbers, De Bruyne numbers, Bruno Fernandes numbers. He completely outclassed Bruno Fernandes in this particular instance. He is unbelievable, and he essentially taught the Manchester United midfield how to play the game. He was sensational. Their flexibility and fluctuation in positions allows Brighton to progress the ball up the pitch with ease. It's their ability to pick up the pockets of space that are left by Manchester United players that allow them just to occupy and make overloads. Matoma and Lamptey did a very good job of progressing the ball forwards, and Veltman and Adingra did the same as well. Progressing the ball further up the pitch allowed Pascal Gross to take up better positions, and then you have Adam Lallana being able to just drift into those pockets, occupying different players. The fluctuation in the play is sublime and brilliant to watch, and honestly, Brighton could have had so much more. This ability and tactical awareness to be able to be there for your fellow teammate is something that not only makes Brighton a better cohesive unit, but at the same time makes them a force to be reckoned with when they go forwards. Their ability to run off the ball and make sure that they're able to pick up clever positions means that they are just pure class. Let's take a look at some in-game moments, because these really encapsulate and highlight what I'm talking about. Here we have the build-up to the first goal, and Joel Veltman is here on the ball, as you can see. But what's extremely interesting about this particular position is the fact that he has so many different options to play. First of all, he can play the ball down the line past Reguilón, and then the forward player, Adingra, could then make a run and then get on the end of it. Brighton are then completely open to be able to go forwards. Another pass he has is Danny Welbeck, who's currently playing in between the channels between the centre defensive midfielder in Casemiro and the centre-back in Lisandro Martinez. Reguilón will not be able to get there, and neither will Lindelof. This means that there is a completely free pass, and then he can also play that through ball if he ever wants to. But the other pass that he also has is just retreating somewhat, but also able to recycle the ball whenever he needs to, and that is to Pascal Gross, who was in this position a numerous amount of times. We've already highlighted how good I believe Gross was in this match, but his ability to be free on the ball continuously in different pockets of space meant that players like Veltman were able to go forwards with the ability and the knowledge that they would be able to find their main player to be able to progress the ball onto other sides of the pitch. Of course, there's always a retreating pass backwards, but that is 4 different passes that they have against this Manchester United side. And 4 passes, I might add, that Eriksen is not getting to, that Casemiro is not getting to, that Bruno Fernandes is not getting to. You see my point. Their progression through the lines and their ability to pick up these kind of pockets of space just mean that they are automatically so much more dangerous. Let's move on and have a look at another one, because this moves on in the play, and as you can see, Danny Welbeck has just picked up the ball. The pass that he decided to play was through into the channel, into Welbeck, and then Adam Lallana is already on his bike. He's gone. He's off. Pascal Gross is still watching the play happen after the pass has been made, and Adingra has also started to move as well. He's ready to make that forward run into the channel, and then Welbeck is going to give him that ball. But at the same time, if Welbeck doesn't want to play that, he has a couple of passes. There is too much space in between the 2 Manchester United midfielders, which means that Welbeck, if he wanted to, could recycle the ball back to Pascal Gross. He could also play a ball infield horizontally to Adam Lallana, and it just gives them so many different options. Let's keep going. Here is Welbeck taking his goal through a brilliant cross from Adingra. Welbeck slots it home, and it becomes 1-0. From that moment on, the mentality of the Manchester United players all shifted. Heads went down, they lost their responsibility, they lost their discipline, and it became a very simple affair for Brighton. But their play through the lines, progressing the ball through different variations of positions, was absolutely sublime. Here we have another moment. This is the build-up to the second goal. Pascal Gross, the goal scorer, is sat on the edge of the box. Remember, he is actually meant to be the right centre mid, but he's drifting into pockets of space to give Tariq Lamptey the ability to have a pass on and off the ball. He can play it into Welbeck, he can play it into Gross, he can play it back to Dahoud. He can also play it back to Mitoma if he ever wants to. There is a difficult pass through the lines into Adam Lallana if he decides to spin it behind. There are so many different options for Tariq Lamptey on the ball that it just means that they have so many different options. Also, so many different options that Manchester United players need to be covering. Eriksen needs to be covering Welbeck. Casemiro is currently closing the ball down, but 2 of these players are completely out of the game. Bruno Fernandes is never getting anywhere. And this means that Brighton have the freedom of the park. It's, number one, horrendous defending by United, but it's because of the positions that Brighton take up and their movement and ability off the ball that gives them these pockets of space, that gives them these opportunities, that gives them their chance in front of goal. And of course, then the game moves on. I don't think Lamptey necessarily meant that pass. If he did, perhaps we should give him the benefit of the doubt. I think that he did a brilliant job to find someone in this range of space, in this pocket. Pascal Gross sees the opportunity, moves on to it, shimmies once, sends Lisandro Martinez for a bag of chips, and then slots it home. It was absolutely brilliant. And then, of course, this is the third goal. Manchester United essentially conceded 2 replicas of the same goal, and I would argue that the Pascal Gross finish was very similar also. A Position picked up on the wings, which Brighton completely exploited because Manchester United didn't have any wing presence to come and double back. The fullback ends up tucking in far too deep. Reguilon's not looking at the ball either. Here we have Adingra ready to move into the box, but what's extremely important are, again, say it with me guys, the passing options that the player on the ball has. He could play it down the line to Mitoma, who is currently running into the box. He could try and play a pass through to Ansu Fati if he ever wants to, and at the same time, of course, we have the main goal, which is the pass over to the edge of the box to Joao Pedro, who ends up finishing in the top corner. It is just unbelievable, fantastic play, and it's enabled by the fluctuation of positions through this Brighton attack. And honestly, the way that they play through the lines, the way that they pick up pockets of positions, I think this image right here encapsulates Brighton to a T. They're playing through the lines, the positions that their teammates pick up, and their willingness to run and move off the ball to be able to give the player on the ball, the most important player on the pitch at this current point in time for Brighton. He is the MVP right now. The most important player is him. And I believe this is what De Zerbi is telling his teammates and telling his team, is that he is the most important player. You need to be working for him. And that's exactly what they do. This is why they are able to work the ball so well, because every single player is willing to take up intelligent pockets of space to allow them to move forwards. Sensational. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and hope to see you in the next one. But until then, take care.